think so. I think so.
Oh,
Either way,
wow.
instead of 11 candidates, 10 na lang ngayon.
Baka gusto mo i-Duterte yan para sigurado ka na sa loob, bro. Baka
No,
may
we don't
plano
play
rin
that
kayo
way, man.
ganyan.
Oo, pare, at saka hindi lang naman yun eh. Ako naman, tingin ko, in a fair fight, may chance
Kayang-kaya
naman
mo
din tayong
yan.
manalo.
Oo naman,
At
brother.
mahalal.
Oo naman. Ikaw ba, brother? Of course, ang dami natin pag-usapan. Pasensya, medyo na-late ako ng mga 1-2 minutes because hindi ko mahanap yung aking Mike Velarde, all white, Michael Jackson, Chiz, uh, Chiz, ano tawag doon? Chiz the Harry Roque style, Pusit Games, Escudero. Si Sir Ronald, kasama ko kahapon, galit na galit daw sa kanya si Chiz. Kaya, ayun ako, ayun ako. Ay, ito, bro. So let's start with, bago tayo mag-Andrew Tate and Trump and all the Zelenskyy, syempre nag-Zelenskyy color na lang ako dahil galit tayo eh. Galit tayo. So, solidarity ako ngayon. Since hindi ko nahanap yung Velarde. Let's start first with Chiz. Anong basa mo kay Chiz itong latest na mga, mga karate kid moves niya to explain yung kanyang delaying tactics, to be honest.
Well, alam mo, with regards to Chiz Escudero, again, I truly believe na he is trying to position himself as somebody impartial. Nung sinabi nga niyang
Yeah.
huli na, tatanggi daw yan pag na-offer daw sa kanya yung posisyon ng Vice President in case ma-impeach si Sara, hindi daw niya itutuloy yon. So,
Right.
yun pa lang syempre kasi imagine mo, ikaw yung sitting judge, tapos hindi lang yon, ikaw yung beneficiary pag matanggal tong si VP Sara at
Oy,
makonvict
not
siya, di ba?
directly not directly. It's not sure So we have precedents na hindi Senate President at saka dapat ma-approve yan ng majority ng both houses, 2/3 if I'm not mistaken. But as I said, at least he has to make a pretension to neutrality because he could be one of the top candidates to replace Sara.
Yes, and he already is saying na hindi siya interesado sa posisyon ng Vice President. At least that's what he's saying now. Tingnan natin kung totoo nga yun if and when the time comes, di ba? Iba naman yung pronouncements mo at iba din yung totoong decision mo at action mo eh. And matagal-tagal pa yan, kaya hindi natin masasabi talaga. O ngayon, sa usapan ng tagal, di ba? Ano sabi niya ngayon? July na, di ba? Bago mag-uumpisa yung actual trial. Pero mukhang sinasabihan na niya lahat ng mga staff ng Senate na magmadali na at i-prepare na yung mga kailangan i-prepare for this impeachment. And if you look at it naman, Richard, it's March ngayon, to prepare
Yeah.
for all of this, baka umabot din naman tayo doon. Okay, sabihin mo nang mapaaga ng konti. Sabihin mo na. Okay? Pero tignan mo to. Again, elections are happening on May 12, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken. And then, the new batch will come in by around June or July. Mga gano'n, di ba? So, hindi ko talaga masabi na I can't really blame him, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people are, ganging up on him regarding this. But for me, I think it is strategic. I think it has a bigger chance of getting a conviction. And plus, makikita mo yung pulso ng bayan at makikita mo talaga kung saan baboboto yung mga tao. Team Philippines ba yung mga tao o Team China? Team impeachment ba o team no impeachment, 'di ba? Doon natin makikita based on how the people are gonna vote in this election. And from the way it looks, if they play their cards right, mukhang magiging team impeachment, team Philippines, team anti-pogo, yun ang mga
Right.
mananalong mga issues of the day.
Although, I mean, we can also call them Team Piatos or...
Right,
tayo
team.
nga, Mary Grace Boys. Mary Grace Boys tayo. Dami
Oo,
natuwa
di
sa
ba?
picture natin, Naka-skinny legs shirt, naka-skinny jeans pa si Sir Ronald Llamas. Kaya talagang bagets na bagets ang dating. Para tayong boy band yung mga picture natin last week, Na, ito, balikan natin, bro. Well, ako naman, for me, siguro the issue is, klaro naman yung interpretation of forthwith, you have to start
Yes.
immediately within reasonable boundaries. At in fairness naman to Chiz, at least he got the ball rolling in terms of accepting na the logistical foundations should be built. Pero I think many would say the trial itself could have also started. There's nothing naman in the Constitution stopping the Senate from starting this trial itself. So again, you can see na baka hindi lang dito concern yung long-term plans niya in 2028, right? Baka ang concern nga, baka matanggal siya as Senate President even before
Right.
matapos ang term niya. Kasi this is what I call the Mig-Zubiri dilemma, right? Remember yung kay Kiboloy, yung kay Mig-Zubiri? Parang,
Yes.
hindi niya clear yung warrant of arrest until it became like the inevitable. At all he needed to is yung pitik na lang. Di ba? Like, all the house of cards were built and then like he just had to do a last pitik para meron siyang plausible deniability. And of course, we know with Zubiri because of the Mindanao base and all of that, siguro worried din siya. And eventually, Zubiri was still tinanggal siya. Diba? Kasi nakita mo, wala kasing center of gravity ang Senate ngayon eh. And it's very likely Tito Soto might return. I mean, if the surveys are correct, I won't be surprised. And Tito Soto most likely will make a run for the Senate. So if you're Chiz Escudero, your nightmare scenario is you push this thing, you alienate the DDS base, and then you get kicked out of Senate President, and you're totally out of the conversation na, right? So the best thing you could do is like, kapit lang, magpusit guys lang hanggang, and then see, baka enough DDS might even win in the race, and then you might even have a chance to hold on to the Senate President, but do just good enough not to totally also alienate the other side. You know what I'm saying? And then siguro you can put something together for 2028.
So parang sinasabi mo ba that he's sitting on the fence to try to satisfy both masters? Parang ganun ba yung dating dito? Is that what I'm hearing from you?
I think he's building the fence and then he goes below the tunnel, looks in this side and then goes and then looks that side and then he sits on the fence. I think he's going all around the fence 360. So I think again, you're right in a sense that, and in fairness, I mean, Senator Trillanes is the last one to be soft on the issue of Sara impeachment. Pero sabi niya, naintindihan ko talaga si Chiz, ipit ang kamay niya. So kaya feeling ko, unfair talaga si Sir Ronald. Si Sir Ronald kasi galit na galit kay Chiz eh. But ako naman, parang nainis lang ako when Chiz was citing Ma'am Miriam Defensor. Parang she's not here to litigate her case. Kasi of course, he's not a luminary. He's a good lawyer, but he's not a luminary. So, ang ginagawa niya, ginagamit niya yung kanyang interpretation ng Miriam Defensor's interpretation of the ERAP impeachment to kind of justify what's happening here. And I felt that's like, ayan na naman tayo, passing the buck. And Miriam is not there for us to ask her if this is a proper or is this even a comparable case? Is this the same?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, parang feeling ko, ayan na naman, mga palusot games na naman nangyari. But the fact that he came out of vacation, Paris Fashion Week, whatever, to come out and give these interviews and all, I'll really give it to him. Pero pare, di ko talaga kaya yung, ganyan talaga siya magsalita ng, sabi ko po sa inyo na ganito po. Ay, he really talks like that, no? Akala ko in-exaggerate lang ng mga kaibigan natin. Tapos mapakute siya, ulitin ko ba?
At saka meron siyang ano ngayon, parang meron siyang yung palagi gumagano, napansin ko. It's very distracting.
Tapos yung papakit pa siya.
Kailan ko ba ulitin? I don't want to make fun of anyone's speech impediment kung meron. Pero
hindi naman. Madaldal yan. Ang problema na hindi speech impediment, speech rhyming syndrome. Nagra-rhyme. Lahat ng mga sinasabi niya, nag-end. Yung end ng each paragraph, nagra-rhyme. So parang medyo minsan, balagtasan competition ba or anything like that. But, having said that, I want to talk about this thing, no? So, actually, as you know, may pinagawang survey ang mga ibang kaibigan natin, hindi na natin sabihin sino, pero in-embargo na nila, hindi nila ni-release because they didn't want popularity contest yung issue ng Sara impeachment. Nevertheless, some of our friends, and these are our friends, WR Numero, no? Nag-release sila, nagkaroon silang event this week pala, sorry. Hindi pa pala next week na. Saturday pa lang. And base dito sa survey nila, tinanong mga tao, and sa Tagalog yun, yung kaugnay na impeachment kay VP Sara Duterte, ang Senado ay inaasahan na magsasagawa ng isang impeachment, ganyan. So, and then, basically lang tinanong sa kanila, sang-ayon ba kayo dito sa impeachment? Ikaw ba ay sumasang-ayon o hindi sumasang-ayon sa desisyon na ito ng Kamara? Lubos na hindi sumasang-ayon 7.5% in the whole Philippines, but it was highest in Mindanao at 15.5%. Hindi sumasang-ayon 50% Mindanao, 39.2% in Philippines. And then yung sumasang-ayon ay just below 30%. And then 20% lang hindi sigurado. So it's slightly moving in the direction of the Sara side. But where this survey got interesting is, merong follow-up question, binigyan yung specifics ng cases. So sabi nila, ang Senado ay inasahan na magsasagawa ng isang impeachment, blah blah blah. Ilan sa mga allegations sa impeachment complaint na inihain ng Kamara ay ang sabwatan upang ipapatay assassination plot, and then malversation o pag-abuso ng confidential funds, at panunuhol at katiwalian sa Department of Education. Sa inyong pagtingin, ano ang dapat na maging desisyon ng Senado? Dito bigla bro, naging weird yung result. 40% bigla undecided. So, nung tinanong in general, gusto mo ma-impeach, 20% lang hindi sure. Nung binigyan ng details, biglang naguluhan, biglang kalos kalate. Ay, hindi ko alam ano sasabihin. So, parang naging weird yung implication nito. So, ang worry nila, Sir Ronald, among others, is, and again, this is on due respect to my friends in WR numero, is that baka ma-weaponize ito ng DDS camp to say, or to scare yung mga senators na iba na lalo foot dragging sila. When in fact, if you look at it, you can actually raise some questions about the questioning in the survey. And bakit parang weird ang nangyari, like 40%. So, in short, baka best na lang, wag na natin tignan ng surveys. Let's just look at what is the constitutional duty of the Senate.
Yeah. Well, remember Richard, that even Chiz said nga, wala daw siya nakikitang clamor. He made that stupid argument that wala daw clamor, kaya ba daw siya magmamadali. And then people reminded him na it's not about the clamor or not. Like you said, it's not a popularity contest. There is a mandate that they need to fulfill. They need to do their job. Kailangan nila ipatupad itong impeachment. Ngayon, kung hindi nila gawin yung trabaho nila, then they're actually neglecting their sworn duties. Yun lang naman yun eh.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, alalahanin natin na karamihan talaga natin mga mamamayan, unfortunately, and I mean this with as much respect as I can give our people, marami talaga have low comprehension skills at hindi talaga na alam kung ano yung nangyayari sa ating bansa o kaya hindi din nila maintindihan yung mga tanong na binibigay. Therefore, that's why kaya pag tinignan mo yung survey nung binigyan na yung mga detalye, hindi na nila naintindihan yung tanong, kaya ang sagot na lang, hindi sila sigurado.
Siya complicated pare, di ba? I mean, I don't think, kahit siguro edukado ka, ang komplikado yun eh, yung details sa malversation, yung grave threat issue. So, kumbaga, the more you introduce details, the more confused people get. That's why you shouldn't rely on popular opinion or snapshots of popular opinion for fulfillment of your constitutional duty, di ba?
Yep. And not just that, lalahanin mo that kung you're part of the government, may trabaho kang kailangan gawin. Sometimes it's not the popular decision, but it's the right decision. Kasi if you let the mob dictate kung ano yung pwedeng at tamang gawin para sa ating bansa, my God, we are going to be in chaos. Yeah. That's the reality. Because majority of people can't even manage their own lives, let alone try to manage a country. So, kung gagawin mo lahat ng mga decision mo based on popularity, my God, good luck talaga sa ating bansa. This is why, alam mo, there's a part of me that's, how I wish there was a modification of how democracy works. Because the purest form of democracy, I've always said that I don't think truly is effective.
Well, I mean, for instance, I think in Germany, there's a requirement to have a graduate degree if you're going to run for parliament or something like that. So some countries have some qualification that some may find very elitist or anti-egalitarian. And so there are multiple permutations of democracy we can talk about. Ako naman, for me, I'm all compassion sa ating mga kababayan. If your life is a daily grind, right? Every day you're worried about whether mapapakain mo yung pamilya mo. Every day nagwo-worry ka kung you can afford the jeepney to go back home at night. Diba? We know there are teachers who walk through the EDSA during morning at times. You know, for me, meron ba silang oras na manood ng lahat ng podcast natin or magbasa ng Rappler or Inquirer, ganun? So I'm realistic on that. For me, ang mas nakakainis dito sa issue na ni-raise mo pare, perfect transition yan. Yung mga iba na nagkakandidato lang dahil lang sa tingin nila sikat lang sila, fame. I mean, let's call it out. Look at our good friend, right, 'di ba? Hanggang ngayon tinatanong sa kanya, ano bang batas na gusto mo, 'di ba? Hindi, ikaw anong batas gusto mo? Parang estudyante na tinanong tapos hindi mo alam yung sagot. Hindi, ikaw magaling kang teacher, 'di ba? Hindi, sagutin mo yan, ikaw nga, 'di ba? Tapos biglang hindi, kailangan ko para pag-aralin yung Sara impeachment. And then yung palusot as always, which is the very, let's just call it, how many more Robin Hood Padillas we need? The palusot is, wala akong alam or wala akong ganyan-ganyan, pero wala rin akong alam sa corruption, blah, 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 ganyan. No, but hindi pwede hanggang puso lang, di ba? Sabi ko yung gilas ng puso lang, parati tayong talo eh. Nung nagkaroon ng matinong coach, doon lang tayo nanalo. So, puso is not enough. And fame should not be a basis to make decisions on this issue. Merit. Dapat meron kang kakayahan. Dapat you bring something to the table. At mas naiinis ako doon, bro, na may mga tao na talaga dinadaan ito talaga sa pure celebrity power na lang. bahala na lang si Batman later on kung may magawa akong matino. I mean, ilan na, may Little Lapid ka na, may Robin Hood pa. I mean, how many more of these people do we need to save our nation? That's ridiculous to me.
Yeah, actually right now, yun na nakakakaba sa bagong pwedeng maging Senado from the way it looks. Dumami lalo yung mga celebrities at yung mga tao na talagang walang alam. At it's really going to make this... So if we thought this Senate was bad, wait till the next one comes around. Unless may madagdag tayo dyan na kapalit, my God, it's gonna be worse. Robin Padilla was a handful, Bato de la Rosa, and now you're gonna have other clowns coming in.
Even worse, like, have you ever heard Lito Lapid? Bro, I'll ask you what. May narinig ka ba kay Lito Lapid all these years? Ako halos wala. Alam mo, once ko lang siya nakita na nung nag-meet sila kay Obama nung 2014-15, I think, bueno, para tas excited siya, para siyang fan. Ay, fan pa ako ni President Obama. Like, you're a senator of a republic. You don't act that way. But, so parang ang point ko is, yung ibang senator, I've never heard them. Si Mark Villar, narinig mo ba? Hindi ko pa narinig. I mean, like, nakikita ko lang yung mga posts niya about Lakers, about NBA, gano'n. So like, how many more like that we need in Senate?
Alam mo, yun na nakakalungkot talaga dito, no? Kasi ang sayang sa oras at pera. Imagine mo magkano sinusweldo nating mga senador. Tapos ganyan na nakukuha natin. Wala talaga
100%.
nagagawang contribution para sa ating legislation, para mas mapatibay ang ating mga batas at ang ating bansa. Wala silang ginagawa. Sobrang sayang sa pera talaga. At hindi ko alam kung ano ba pwede natin gawin o kaya natin gawin as, I mean, we're just vloggers and opinion makers. Meron ba tayong magagawa para may bago yung pag-iisip ng ating mga kababayan na wag na nating iboto to dahil sayang sa pera talaga to, sayang sa sweldo. Tayo nagsusweldo dyan eh. Hindi ko alam kung anong gagawin talaga.
Sayang sa Tsaka sayang yung bagong building ng Senado, mukhang bubukas na pare. Medyo BGC yung malapit sa BGC. Parang hindi bagay sila dyan.
Alam mo, now that you mentioned it, yung pa yung isa talagang issue ko just sa Senate natin ngayon. Yung 31 billion na sinasabi lang wala daw sila nakikita na overpricing, sus Mariosep Chiz. It's called overspending. Why would you spend 31 billion for a building? Pambihira naman, mas mahal pa siguro yung building na kaysa sa Shangri-La. You know,
substandard
mga developers
daw, bro.
don't spend that much, and these guys decided to spend 31 billion for that monstrosity and nilagay pa na sa BGC. I've always said, na I don't know if I've ever said this to you, Richard, na sana talaga gawin ng ating Senado at Kongreso ay they spread themselves out. For example, the Senate should be in the Visayas or Mindanao. Then Congress should be in Visayas or Mindanao.
Good idea.
Para sa ganon, yung kung saan sila mapunta, first of all, it actually pushes the density outside of Manila, number one. Number two, it actually also helps the business in that area pag nandun yung Senado at yung Kongreso. And it'll help overall trade and commerce. They have to fly in and out, lahat-lahat yan. At least yun, it improves trade and everything. Why BGC? It's already congested and they're gonna make it more congested.
Actually, di ba yung ibang bansa like Indonesia, meron silang totally new cities ang ginagawa, Nusantara. Sa Malaysia is Putrajaya, right? So there are many countries who are actually building in malayo. I mean, at least as far as Laguna or beyond. And your idea is right. Maybe something in the south of Luzon, almost Visayas, para somewhere in the middle, para accessible. At para lumayo itong mga ibang senador sa atin. Sa totoo lang, parang, I cannot take them. Like, umalis na kayo dito. Umalis na kayo dito, di ba? I mean, can you imagine that? I mean, back in the day, people would rush through traffic to watch yung mga debates in the Senate and all of that. Ngayon, parang umalis na kayo dito kasi wala rin mga kwenta-kwentang debate.
Yeah.
Mangyari.
At saka, hindi lang yun, Richard. I mean, honestly, have you watched the Senate hearings lately? My God, it is a disaster. Wala akong natututunan dun eh. Nakakasira talaga ng brain cells. As like I always say, sumasakit yung bangs ko. At you can tell, wala nga akong bangs, pero putsang sakit talaga. Nanonood ako ng Senate.
Oy, may nag-comment. Sabi nga, yung New Star Hotel nga 5-star, baka 6-star pa nga. Actually, I've been to New Star and heading back soon for a talk. 13 billion lang daw. Imagine, it's like 3 times more expensive than a 6-star hotel. I mean, this is ridiculous now.
It is.
Comment,
and to think na ang laki na ng utang ng ating bansa and you've got, our government spending this much money. Now, mind you, for the mga, baka may mga Duterte dito, sabihin nila, tama, ganyan kabangag yung gobyerno natin ngayon. All governments, all administrations, that is the biggest problem. Overspending. Lagi nilang overspending. And the worst one of that was actually the previous administration. Kasi ang malala doon, ni isang matinong project, hindi mo talaga nakita with all that money they borrowed, which is what over doubled our national debt.
I mean, ako kasi parang ang napansin ko, in fairness, one reason why marami pa rin supporters ng dating administration in the provinces and especially Mindanao is, marami silang mga small to medium-sized projects. Yung mga maliit na bridge, maliit na roads. I've been to Mindanao in the past decade or so. May mga improvements. But you're right, when it comes to big-ticket infrastructure projects, hindi yung mga small size, halos wala. Saan yung Mindanao Railway Project? Saan yung mga pledges ng China? Even yung Davao Bridge project na the only legit one na medyo may plan, ang daming problema sa right of way hanggang ngayon delayed pa rin at saka ang dami niyang tatamaan na ecological sites, yung Kaliwa Dam project that's gonna be potentially ecological disaster. So wala mapakita talagang Duterte administration despite spending like crazy. Did you know that under Pinoy our national budget tripled, almost quadrupled? So but Pinoy, dahil takot siya na madamay sa corruption scandal, and the Supreme Court in 2013 ruling yung disbursement acceleration program as unconstitutional, so ipit yung kamay nila, hindi sila gumastos masyado. In fact, that was one of the reason na bugbog sarado sila Maros kasi lumala yung traffic, wala infrastructure projects. So that means pare, si Digong ang dami nilang pera. Nilang pera. So it's not only overspending, as you put it, it's the fact that they had so much money to do so much good. And yet, kung saan napuntang usapan, EJK, China, Pogo, di ba? Lahat ng mga newly developed areas, puro na Pogo na rin doon sa Manila Bay Area.
Yeah. Alam mo, pinaka nakaka-frustrate talaga doon, yung sa laki ng inutang ni Duterte. Sa akin lang, nagugulat ako pag hindi pa to alam ng ating mga kababayan, Sa laki ng inutang niya, saan napunta yun? Alam mo kung saan? Napunta sa mga kaibigan niya ng mga Chino. Doon na yun Yun na nakaka-bad trip Binigay niya sa mga dayuhan yung inutang niya, tapos tayo ang nagbabayad ngayon ng interest na yun. If I'm not mistaken, magkano bang percentage of yung interest service debt payments natin? Is it at 10% or 12% of the total national budget? It's insane. Para interest lang.
Ang laki ng utang nga natin during Digong's time Kaya sabi ko, actually, a lot of problems you have in the current administration in terms of marami silang hindi magagawa, ipit yung kamay nila is dahil nagbabayad pa tayo ng mga utang yung mga na-contract natin nung panahon ni Digong. And in fact, if you look at it, we were consistently, you look at the Bloomberg Index, you look at multiple indices, we were consistently the worst country in Southeast Asia in managing the pandemic. Not only in terms of yung mga infections, economy natin, we had 5 quarters of recession. And then yung mga kaibigan natin na ka-DDS, bakit? Ganyan naman sa Italia. Bakit ganyan? Sabi ko, bakit mo kino-compare sa first world bigla? Dati nung usapan ng EJK, ayaw mo i-compare sa Portugal. Di ba? I said, Portugal, decriminalized. Hindi, Europe yan Huwag tayo mag-compare sa Europe. Pero biglang ng pandemic, hindi, compare tayo sa Europe. But Vietnam's economy actually grew during pandemic. Taiwan's economy grew. Indonesia had contraction, but nowhere close as we had almost 10% economic contraction. Ganyan kapalpak si Digong. Ganyan kapalpak Digong, and then ganyan kapalpak yung spending nila, and sobrang daming discretionary funds. Yung Farmali, I think, is probably the tip of the iceberg. So kanina, mahal na mahal ko yan si Mayor Benji Magalong, who has been at the forefront of, talking about good governance, talking about... Pero sabi ko, Mayor Benji, well, let's also talk about Farmali. Let's also talk about ganun. So immediately, para sa kanya, he brought the conversation more to his own. Sabi niya, well, yung Baguio naman, tinulungan, ganyan lang. So, ganun na lang. Hindi niya na-defend yung big picture. And in fairness to him, he even criticized. So, what I'm saying, bro, here is that I think our problem here is masyado tayong, we're so drenched in partisan and recency bias. Yung parang, anong latest? We fail to see yung long term. At even mga intelligent, educated people, they make that mistake. They forget, marami sa mga problema natin ngayon, inherited yan over time. And marami sa nagawa ni Digong ay dahil sa magandang economic policies ni Tita Arroyo. I'm critical of Tita Arroyo, but I think in fairness, she did good fiscal
Yep.
consolidation. And Pinoy, despite all his failures,
Yep.
he saved a lot. So, yung ganyan ang kulang sa atin, yung longitudinal analysis. Parang relasyon yan. Galit ka sa jowa mo, pero hindi mo naintindihan saan galing yung galit ng jowa mo. Baka naman, may kasalanan ka rin dati. Baka naman, di ba? Pero if you just look at what happened this month lang, you're gonna miss the picture. You're gonna miss the... So, for me, ganun din dapat yung approach
Alam mo kasi ang problema this is a common human mistake. Okay? It's called the halo effect. Yung halo effect, pag may tingin kang ginawang isang tao, you then forgo all the bad things that they did na okay na yan. Pikit mata na tayo dyan dahil may ginawa siyang sa tingin mo, tama na isa. So yung palaging tinataut nila na tamang ginawa ni Digong ay yung peace and order daw. Pero at what cost? 'Di ba? At what cost was this peace and order that they're claiming? Maraming namatay. Not only that, marami siyang ninakaw sa ating bansa. Marami siyang pinamigay sa ating bansa. Not just money, land. Okay? And then because of him, we almost became a province of China. He was very open about it. Kala mo nagbibiro na naman siya na gusto niyang gawing province of China to. Talagang gusto niyang gawin. Nakita mo kung how he bows to China and how his daughter bows to China. Pero dahil na may halo effect ang mga tao dahil sa isang bagay, kinakalimutan nila o pikit mata na sila sa lahat ng mga bagay na mali na nagagawa ng isang tao na tulad ni Duterte.
Buti kautaw lang nagmamandarin na nga yung anak niya I don't know.
Yun na nga,
did
diba?
you listen to Sara? Ang basa ng mga kaibigan natin is the way she did her Mandarin is like you do French and then you read it as you write it. Parang Bourdieu becomes Bourdieu. Rousseau becomes...
Right.
Parang ganyan kasablay yung Mandarin niya. You tell me. I mean, I'm sure probably you know Hokkien better than Mandarin. But going back to this, bro. Actually, I was with General Torre. I saw your vlog on General Torre. So actually, na-inspire ako. I was with General Torre the other day and he was saying, budol yan purong budol yan si Duterte. Yung mga sinasabi niya, law and order. Actually, he said something very interesting. Sisingilin natin siya. He said, ang daming parang buy-bust operations paano ni Digong, pero ang konting nahuhuling drugs. Ngayon, mas konti yung buy-bust operations, mas konting namamatay, pero ang daming nahuhuli. So, bakit ang tinitignan ng tao ay yung frequency of buy-bust operations, hindi yung resulta? And then, bakit tayo na-impress dun sa namamatay instead na titingnan yung drugs ba bumaba? So, I'm glad that at least there are people like General Torre coming up. You had something on General Torre. Can you expound on that? How do you see General Torre's place in the greater scheme of things?
Alam mo, he really inspires me and parang lalo ako nagkaroon ng tiwala sa ating mga kapulisan dahil kay General Torre and how his demeanor is, how he conducts himself. At nakikita mo that even as a police general, he is using the law in its proper ways to be able to fight whatever crime or misinformation that's happening. Hindi niya inaabuso yung kanyang posisyon. I like that. And honestly, nung panahon ni Duterte, marami natakot sa mga ating kapulisan. At hindi nila mapagkatiwalaan ng ating mga kapulisan. Because of General Torre, nakikita mo ngayon dito that, hey, pwede silang mapagkatiwalaan. At yes, maraming matitinong polis. And as a matter of fact, naalala ko nga nung one time napapunta ako sa Pasig sa Ortigas Center na police station. Nakausap ko yung mga polis doon Nagkwentuhan kami kasi nakilala nila ako. Nakita ko nga talaga sa kanila na sila mismo, they weren't in total agreement with what happened nung panahon ni Duterte. Talagang, parang alam mo yun, wala lang sila magagawa. Inuutos pero marami din, ayaw nilang gawin. May iba nga, hindi nilang sumunod sa batas, hindi nilang sumunod kay Duterte na, pumatay ng tao So, may mga ganun pa rin mga matitinong mga pulis. Actually, maraming matitinong pulis. Mas konti yung mga bad apples, except na-highlight sila ngayon.
Kasama ba si Bato dyan? No, but you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. In fairness to him, kasi malapit ako sa AFP military nung time ni Digong For many reasons, including because of West Philippines issue, but also because I felt safer with them. But to be honest, because of my interactions with the PMA Academy, and more recently with General Torre, parang medyo tumataas yung aking paniniwala tsaka I'm more hopeful na sana mas security sector reform natin yung kapulisan natin because I think our policemen deserve more respect, but there should be some institutional reforms and no one better to do that than fingers crossed, God willing, next police chief, right? Of course, doon tayo kay Sir Marbel, right? Yung
Well,
na-extend ng 5 months pa, di ba? But hopefully after the current PNP chief, sana we have someone like him as the PNP chief para tuloy-tuloy lang. I mean, Mayor Magalong is also could have become the PNP chief, except yun nga, binuking niya yung yung mamasapano na kapalpakan ng Pinoy administration. So, my fingers crossed ako na sana hindi ma-derail itong promotion or expected, promotion further of the CIDG director Torre. Kaya minsan natakot ako, bro, baka masyado natin siya binibida. Dadami yung mga kalaban. Kaya minsan, hinahilay lang tayo. Thank you,
Pare, alam mo sa akin naman, hindi ko naman siya binibida. Nakita ko lang talaga yung tama niyang ginagawa at gusto ko lang talagang pag-usapan yun dahil sa akin, kailangan talaga malaman ng tao itong mga ganitong klaseng mga liderato natin, especially sa posisyon ng mga kapulisan. Pinapakita niya na maganda siyang example para sa lahat ng ating mga kapulisan na sundan kung paano ba talaga yung how do you conduct yourself. Although may mga palpak din naman siya, pero ang maganda sa kapalpakan niya kasi inaamin niya at nag-apologize at nagre-resign kung kailangan. Di ba? May humility yung tao. And for me, that was one of the most important traits na nakikita ko with him na wala si Bato de la Rosa. Na wala yung mga ibang mga generals ng kapulisan natin. At look at Marbil. What happened to him right na just last week, di ba? Yung nahuli siya na gumagamit ng bus expressway tapos may emergency daw, nagpapalusot pa. Ito si Torre, nakikita mo hindi siya abusadong klaseng pulis eh. And because of what he's doing, kaya siya tinitira ngayon ng mga Dutertards. Yung mga bayad na trolls yun lang naman ang rason eh. Pag effective ka sa ginagawa mo at tama ginagawa mo, talagang titirahin ka talaga ng mga Dutertards eh.
My concern nga, baka hindi lang Dutertards. I mean, there's always gonna be professional jealousy and he's bro, sobrang grabing organic support for him. Like, every time he posts something about him, grabe. Nung una, akala ko, sabi ko, may troll farm ka ba, General Torre? Where are these people coming from? Right? Because, nung pinaka-first na interview ko siya, live sa loob siya ng compound ni Kibuloy, susugurin na nila. And I said, no one is gonna watch it. No one is gonna watch it. It was like, nasa Siargao pa ako, tapos different state of mind. Ito yung time na si Harry Roque na sabi niya, Team Kadiliman at kasama. So, I was not taking it seriously. And then like, midnight, people are still watching, and then the next morning I wake up, there's like 1,000 comments. And it looks legit, bro. Like, yeah. So sabi ko, mukhang organic ito. So, you could see pare na there is a desperation among our people for decisive leaders na matino. No? Makikita mo talaga, at the end of the day, ang Pinoy, ang gusto talaga nila matinong leader. Yun lang, nabubudol kasi tayo once in a while, unfortunately. But pagod na kasi tayo sa mga pakwit lang at saka mga yung mga mahina eh.
Yeah. Doon mo nakikita yung pinagkaiba nilang dalawa ni Bato de la Rosa, no? Pag tinignan mo si Bato de la Rosa as a policeman, then tignan mo si General Torre as a policeman, ang biggest difference sila, Bato de la Rosa will be selective in how he enforces the law, depending on who you are. General Torre, you're high and mighty or you're not, the law will be applied and enforced equally. At doon ako talaga napahanga sa kanya yung first time nakita ko talaga decidido siya at ginawa niya ng paraan na mahuli talaga si Kibuloy. And to be honest with you, to be in Davao at that time with the Dutertes 100%. In power, with Baste as mayor telling him sasampalin ko tong taong to and all the other insults they threw at him, and he looked kind of funny with that helmet on. Actually, nung nakita ko siya, naalala
yung minor siya.
Pero,
sir, tawag sa'yo minor general kasi nagmamay. Pero
he was able to deliver. And for me, that was the most important thing. And man, he made the government look good. He made the administration look good. He made the DILG look good because of what he did. So that's why all praise ako for General to.
Naman, hindi naman natin binibida, of course, bro. Objective naman tayo. Ang point ko lang is, syempre, yung mga mainggit na packet chime kino-cover natin.
Yes.
Hindi si Traffic Boy. Balikan natin to, bro. Natatawa ko talaga yung mga grabe yung mga memes sa kanya. Yung isa yung nakikinig siya sa yung sa doktor na underground, nandiyan pa si Kibuloy. But in the end, he delivered. Kaya nga sabi ko, nung nagkaroon ng showdown actually, my advice to him is, if wala kang political plans, gawa ka ng mercenary Wagner group after you retire. Ang gawa mo lang is manghuli ng mga high profile na yung mga nag-hunker down sa kanilang mansion. He's gonna make a lot of money. But going back to this, bro. Speaking of him, actually, he filed a cyber libel case against a DDS troll, di ba? And next thing yun, itong DDS troll na to, iyakan na, alam mo naman, ganun naman sila, ang tapang-tapang niya, pas pag kinasuhan mo, hindi, paano yung kapamilya ko, paano ang ganun, dami hanash, di ba? So I asked the general point blank, sabi ko, okay.
Recording stopped.
Oops, sorry. Point blank na I asked him na, sorry, wait, but is it recording on your side? I'll get na lang your live version na lang. Pa-forward na lang, download na lang. Okay. No, I asked General Torre kasi about this. Ang sabi ko kay General Torre, gets ko yung kay Duterte. Kasi ano yun parang ayan na naman siya, yung mga joking about killing senators. Hindi na enough is enough, diba? Pero yung kakasuhan mo yung mga trolls and ganun, doesn't that set a dangerous precedence? Parang yun ang worry ko. Sa kanya naman is kasi parang bastusan na daw dahil parang pinapalabas na patay na siya, nasa ICU na siya, naapektuhan na daw yung pamilya na. Ikaw, how do you think about that? Because, you're also a vlogger, bro. Of course, we don't want a situation whereby may sasabi ka, ayaw ni ganito, tapos kakasuhan ka. We don't want weaponization of cyber libel by powerful officials. I mean, he's the head of CIDG. He's not hindi siya pichugin na police. What do you think about that, bro?
So, first of all, ang maganda kasi nangyari ngayon, when you talk about filing cases, they have what they call the prima facie evidence. Ibig sabihin nun is kailangan makapagpakita ka at mag-submit ka ng evidence na beyond reasonable doubt that will give a high certainty of conviction. Now, maganda dito sa i-introduce nila ngayon ay dahil dito, hindi lang pwede kahit sino magsampa ng kaso ng mahinay ebidensya tulad nung nangyari noong panahon ni Duterte na maraming planted evidence, fake coerced witnesses, di ba? So, ang nangyayari dati ay dahil sa marami mga bogus cases, that's why the courts are having a hard time with being able to hear all these cases. Kaya ang daming delay, umabot ng 5, 6, 7, 8 to 10 years. Thus, nagkakaroon ng mga kaso tulad ni De Lima, who's in jail for 7 years, just after 7 years, to say na you're acquitted. Basically, case was thrown out of court. Dahil nga, yung sa mga bogus case na yan. So, ang maganda dito is kahit na cyber libel yan, let's say, importante that you can show evidence, prima facie evidence, that shows na this is without a doubt na cyber libel to or libel to. What happened to Torre is libel. If you think about it, nakita ko yung post Talagang sobrang malicious nun. Na alam mo naman na hindi talaga nasa ospital yung tao at hindi talaga siya, wala naman talaga siya sakit, ipopost mo yun para lang mambudol ng tao. My God, the intent was so bad in this case. So, let's say for us, okay, have I said anything malicious in a way that I'm actually, may masama akong intentions na sinasabi ko? Wala. So, it teaches everyone to be a little bit more careful. Honestly, I'm not totally in favor of cyber libel. I think maybe it could be a civil case, but definitely not a criminal case. So, ang problema lang kasi ngayon with cyber libel, parang ginawa na lang criminal case yan, di ba?
Yeah, although good thing is, and I also confirmed this with Justice Carpio, meron kasi parang circular yung Supreme Court sa mga courts na when it comes to punishment, if someone is found guilty of cyber libel, as much as possible, avoid criminal penalties. Keep it at, so effectively there is a decriminalization in handing the verdict, even though by law it's still criminal. So parang civil suit ang labas pagdating sa punishment. Ang akin lang naman, wag sana masyadong mababa yung amount kasi kung ang bayad sa troll na yan ay 500,000 pesos at yung babayaran lang niya 20,000, ay hindi, medyo may problema tayo sa incentive system, di ba? So I think you have to talk about at least 1 million pesos when you're talking about talagang bastusan talaga na people making a story na you're dead. Kasi yung injurious yun moral injury yun sa family mo. Grabe, di ba? Imagine some people think patay ka na pala, ganun, di ba? So for me, million dapat. Kaya yung nangyari kay yung kaibigan natin si Atom, yung kay Lauren Badoy, 2 million, di ba? Nababayaran ba ni Lauren? Although, after that, meron din fake news na si Lauren Badoy naman na heart attack. Sabi ko, grabe naman ito. Ikaw, what do you think about that? Yeah.
What do I think about what? Sorry?
Yung case ni Lauren Badoy na 2 million, nakapagbayad na ba siya?
Alam mo yun lang ang problema sa civil case kasi hindi nila ma-enforce naman yung pagbayad ng mga penalties na to. I don't know how they're gonna be able to enforce it, but normally ang pwede daw mangyari is they can actually forfeit your mga assets in favor of the judgment para mabayaran. Pero kung matutupad ba yun o hindi ko alam. Kasi kadalasan naman, what they're going to do is show na wala silang assets that anyone can take. So then, in that case, the verdict becomes moot. Di ba? Wala na. Oo, guilty ka. Pero is there really a punishment kung wala kang assets na mapapakita? And pag tinignan yung mga financials mo, wala ka naman talaga masyadong pera. Ano pa yung makukuha, di ba? So, there's a certain extent na ay nako, napaisip tuloy ako na parang sana pag ganun, hindi
Yun nga,
makapagbayad.
di ba? Nakita mo may dilemma.
Makapagbayad, di ba?
Yun nga, may dilemma nga talaga eh. Kasi, for me, talagang binabo yung system natin. Talagang inabuso yung freedoms natin past 10 years. Kung ano-anong naging business na to, naging negosyo na to eh. Kung kaya hijab na yan eh.
Pero alam mo I have to add, Richard, yung problem kasi natin is yung fake news machinery talaga. Nangyari yan noong 2015 on the way until today. Doon talaga nag-umpisa yun
It's a 10-year program,
ngayon tayo, we're just trying to speak opinion, but we're not malicious with the way we talk about these opinions. We don't even insult people, really. We're just talking about the points. Tama ba yung ginawa? Mali ba yung ginawa? Ano ba yung nangyari dito? Ganun lang naman yun eh. I don't think naman we've done anything libelous per se. And I think when the cyber libel law came out the first time,
Recording in progress.
Yes,
I was
sir.
actually against it eh. Diba? Yung kay Tito Soto, siya yung nag-umpisa na, siya yung nag-co-author ng bill na to eh. I was against this cyber libel. I never really liked it. And I didn't like how it was written and how it was been weaponized. And sure enough, nung panahon ni Duterte was when he absolutely weaponized it against anyone that wanted to even try to criticize him. Yun ang nangyari kay Maria Ressa. Diba? Totally harassed her with all these cases.
So what do you have to say about, patulan na natin, Tatay Digong going from saying BBM weak leader, same Tatay Digong saying BBM diktador, strongman, no freedoms. Like, how do you...
So, pare, alam mo, I love the fact that ngayon, nagkakaroon na ng mga spokesperson, yung mga unofficial spokesperson si BBM.
Castro, si
at,
Attorney Castro.
lumalabas na itong mga bagong mga moniker para kay Duterte. Si Trillanes, di ba?
Okay.
Was it Trillanes that tagged Duterte as the one-man fake news machine or
And
something
then si
like that?
Bersamin. In fairness,
Si
it's
Bersamin.
executive secretary.
Man,
that was good.
brilliant. Oh, brilliant. And now, that's sticking to Duterte. And people are reminded na, totoong fake news talaga si Duterte at magaling siya magsinungaling.
Pero hindi siya
And
one man,
Trillanes-
bro. Meron siya lang na troll farm daw eh.
Oo nga, and Trillanes, di ba, said nga that ito si Duterte is a pathological liar, which is true. How many times siya nagsinungaling sa ating taong bayan? How many times siya nahuling nagsinungaling? At umamin siya na nagsinungaling siya. At alam mo, sinabi pa nga niya, di ba? Nung nahuli siyang nagsinungaling, sabi niya, kung naniwala ka dyan, bobo ka, tanga ka, nagpapabudol ka, di ba? Parang ganun, pinagtawanan pa niya yung mga sarili niya supporters na naniniwala sa kanya.
Ako, Budol King pa rin. I think that's the best. That it really triggers.
Oh, yeah, yung bago,
Whenever
the
I
Budol
put
King. Sino
Budol
nagsabi
King.
nun?
Ako! Alam mo naman, I came up with the Budol King. So every time I interview, di ba, Budol King, Budol King. So I think that sticks the most. Natitrigger, ang dami hanggang kagabi, hanggang 3 a.m. Marami nag-aaway sa akin. Kasi gising ako kagabi. Dahil na-trigger ako talaga dun sa back and forth ni Zelenskyy at Trump. I was like, wow, baka magsusuntukan na tong mga to. Did you see that, bro? Like, so basically, 90% of the press conference was kind of okay, nagtatawanan. And then suddenly, ito si JD Vance comes out of nowhere. Parang basically sabi niya, kiss the ring. Parang, say thank you to the boss boy. Parang ginalan lang niya. Ito, syempre, ito, parang I survived 3 years of Russian invasion. I'm not gonna allow you bunch of, riff-raffs, mga boys to tell me what to do. So lumaban siya, napikon na rin si... I thought mag-walk out na or something. What did you feel about that episode, bro? Bago natin pag-usapan si Andrew Tate. At balikan ng Pilipinas before we wrap up this discussion. Kasi ako talagang na-trigger ako kasi is this how US treats the smaller countries? Na parang salamat kayo sa akin, parang kiss the ring. It's so gangster. It's so gangster, bro.
Yeah. So to begin with, I watched the entire 49 minutes of this press con, and I tried to listen to every word uttered and also the underlying meaning of everything that was said, basically to read between the lines. At alam mo dito, nakita ko talaga, I want to give credit din to Trump because for the entire first 40 minutes, bago nagkagulo na lahat, he was measured, calculated, and diplomatic. except for the occasional, if it wasn't for me, if it's under my administration,
Alam na
this
natin
wouldn't have
yan,
happened,
diba?
blah,
Yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah, patting himself on the back. Pero, he did say a lot of things that people may not have caught. Number one, he said that he is committed to NATO. Number two, he did say that he will protect Ukraine. Number three, he did say na nung pinressure siya nung reporter na, paano kung di ni Putin ipatupad yung ceasefire, ano gagawin mo? Sinagot ni Trump, can we not talk like that right now? Kasi you're talking in hypotheticals and what ifs. And the fact is, these are negotiations and those cases, hindi natin alam kung anong gagawin natin and he didn't want to commit to anything. But, with the mineral deal with Ukraine, guaranteed, pag may nangyari sa Ukraine, now that the US has a financial stake in Ukraine, hindi gagalaw si Putin. Talagang
But that's
secure
my
niya
point,
ang
bro. Like,
Ukraine.
parang the idea is like, we will protect you, but let my boys operate some of your stuff in your neighborhood. Parang, it's a very gangster. I mean, some would even call it, it's a semi-colonial arrangement, right? Para hindi ka invade ng Russia, give me a monopoly on your tobacco. This is what they used to do in the 19th century.
Yeah.
The British used to do this a lot.
Okay, so originally, when I heard about the idea of he wanted to get the minerals, I didn't like it. I thought, wow, grabe naman taking advantage of a country while they're in trouble, di ba? Pero at the same time, na-realize ko that that was very strategic naman kasi yung deal naman wasn't like they want to take everything. They're going to invest to be able to mine for all these minerals. So, mag-i-invest din naman ng US and they're going to share the profits. So for me, that was okay. And again, the implications of an economic partnership with Ukraine, like that's ganun ka-strong. Matatakot talaga ang Russia to even try to now put soldiers on the ground or try to even bomb any areas at this point. And Trump hinted at that when he was talking to the reporters. Sabi niya na, syempre hindi ko sasabihin lahat to, pero imagine mo na lang, we will have to protect American interests. He went as far as that. And he goes, we will do whatever it takes to protect American interest. So in that sense, nakikita ko that Trump really wants to try to get peace with Ukraine. Okay, so I want to just say that part first, that I like the fact that he kept reiterating that I want peace, I want peace. And he did say, naintindihan ko si Zelenskyy kung ba't galit na galit siya kay Putin. Pero kung ako tanungin mo, this is not my fight. Kaya I'm trying to be diplomatic. And then he said, if you want me to call Putin a dictator, I can. But is that gonna help the negotiation? Matutulong ba yung negotiation by calling somebody a dictator, murderer, killer, and then pag nakaupo na kayo, hi, let's negotiate? It's not gonna help. He said it. He goes, I can be very tough, a tough negotiator. But in this case, I need to make the deal happen. I want peace. I want this war to end. And his legacy is going to depend on this kung mapatigil niya to. Okay. Having said that, JD Vance is an idiot. I just made a video about it.
But
He's
bro,
a freaking
some,
idiot.
Okay, but some say planted daw ni Trump yan. I have no information to confirm, but some say...
Ano yun?
Remember, it's very rare that the vice president gives a talk while the two heads of states are meeting. So one suspicion is that was a setup. Na towards the end of the talk, JD Vance will come in and trigger in. And look at it. It's not only JD Vance, right? You have other like people. Yung mga making fun of his clothes. These are like even not JD fans.
Maybe something
Yeah.
cheaper.
So
That was
these
a
are
low
like,
blow.
These are a bunch of like, who are these people? Like, di ba, ikaw hindi ka mababastusan. Kung si BBM nandyan, tapos awayin siya nung staff lang ni Trump. Di ba? Parang, bastos eh.
Yeah.
And by the way, there's so many world leaders who go there in their traditional suit. Elon Musk goes there with the t-shirt and cap. They never make an issue out of that. But if Zelenskyy goes there with the clothes, disrespect yan. Come on, bro. I felt that was a bullying and a shakedown. It was really bad look, bro. Now, let's go to...
No, with that one, I agree. That was a low blow. That was uncalled for. And talagang nakikita mo, may mga talagang, mga deranged followers ng si Trump na nandoon. I want to talk about yung conspiracy theory na sinabi mo na parang sinet up si Zelenskyy for this.
It's just a theory. I have no
I'm
confirmation. Yeah. It's...
Ako, I don't think it was a setup eh. Why? Kasi panoorin mo yung nangyari. JD Vance spoke out and started to bash the Biden administration. And then he goes, yan ang problema eh. He goes, Trump is trying to be diplomatic and we're gonna fix this with diplomacy. Zelenskyy should have picked his fights. He should not have replied or tried to ask questions to JD Vance. Bakit? He's a vice president. Yun lang yun. Walang power si JD Vance. Kausap na niya yung presidente. If Zelenskyy had just zipped his mouth and not said anything, this wouldn't have happened. Think about it. Because when he questioned JD Vance about the diplomacy, then sumagot si JD Vance, then sinabi niya, and then JD Vance started spouting off these parang narratives of you're forcing people to go into war, wala ka ng tao, ganyan-ganyan. And then, what did Zelenskyy say? He goes, have you been to Ukraine? And then he goes, I've seen it on TV. Napahiya si JD Vance. Alam niya napahiya siya.
And then JD Vance said, I saw your tour. Your tours are propaganda tours. Ang bastos pare, bastos yan eh. That was rude, bro. That was rude.
Pero nakita mo Zelenskyy was very calm in his entire demeanor. He was calm.
And bro, by the way, let's be clear. He's not fully proficient in English language. That was a bit unfair also. If you could see, he was struggling for the right words. So unfair din eh. Like, I think if he were fully proficient in English language, he could have cracked a joke or something to diffuse tensions.
Yes.
So feeling ko unfair din kasi may language proficiency, but hindi barrier because he can speak English. But he is not as articulate. I mean, JD Vance is a very articulate guy. Donald Trump is a celebrity showman. So, feeling ko meron din yung ganon gap. Kaya medyo mali yung labas kay Zelenskyy eh.
Okay, sa akin lang ganun. Bottom line is, he did not have to correct JD Vance on JD Vance's pronouncements about Biden. Kasi if he didn't correct him, it would have ended there. And then he would have gone back to Trump and go, anyway, Trump, wag natin pasinin yung lapdog mo. Pag-usapan natin, okay na tayo. Let's go to the room and sign the deal. Whatever, di ba? But because he corrected JD Vance, ito yung ginawa niya. Sinabi niya, di ba, you've never been to Ukraine, you saw it on TV. So, you know that, that Putin doesn't listen to ceasefire. That's medyo lecturer niya si JD Vance. JD Vance, sobrang napahiya. Watch how he says this. He goes, yeah, you know what? That's the problem yung about this narrative you have, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, and how dare you come to the United States, not be thankful. You never thanked us once. And then you come here and then you attack the administration and everything. Okay, so hindi na niya ma-defend sarili niya. Kaya ngayon ginawa niya, parang pinalabas niya, ina-attack ni Zelenskyy si Trump. Na hindi naman niya ginagawa yon. And because he did that, now it brings Trump into the argument. Now, Trump was holding back, and Zelenskyy was
bro,
trying to
come on,
debate.
seriously. You think JD Vance would have done that without knowing that there's a green light from Trump? Come on. I don't think JD Vance would have done that without...
That looked spontaneous to me, honestly. And because it seemed like JD Vance was caught with a lie, caught with a bad narrative that he can't defend because obviously he hasn't been to the ground. He's never been in this kind of a war. Tapos kaya siya nag-pivot agad para maghanap ng kakampi. It's a classic case of, diverting the discussion to the behavior of the person rather than the point of contention. So, dapat pinag-uusapan natin yung sinabi mo about Ukraine and about the US na kung ano yung tinulong ng US. Pero instead, sinabi mo, nangiinsulto ka, inattack mo kami, walang hiya ka, inattack mo yung aming presidente sa sarili na aming bansa. How dare you do that?
And then sumali pa yung mga staff sa likod. Why are not wearing a suit? They're disrespect.
Exactly.
Come on, bro.
And
that's crazy.
And then Trump got triggered na. Ayan na. And then Trump went off on the rails. Again, I'm just seeing both sides. I see what Trump's trying to do.
They're MAGA, bro. You're a MAGA. I knew it. I love it.
No.
But
dude,
I see.
It's not about taking sides. It's really take out the biases. Listen to what he was saying. He really wanted to get a peace deal done. He really wanted to sign this. Why? It's an ego thing for him. Dahil pag magawa niya to, he can now brag to everyone, I'm the president that made peace happen. And he could have done it immediately.
And Nobel Peace Prize even get that.
Of course. Pero ito yung problema. Na, I'm gonna try to be understanding here that, alam mo, when you've been trying to hold back for 30 minutes, tapos ang tense ng negotiations, bigla lumabas yan, sometimes you lose it. And he lost it. Okay? And that was it. So the first trigger was Zelenskyy, in my opinion, should have picked his battle so he can win the war. He didn't pick his battle. Pinatulan niya si JD Vance when he didn't have to, number one. But ang may kasalanan talaga si JD Vance because he is a freaking attack dog na pag pinakinggan mo yung mga sinasabi niya, it's all about these blustering words that really don't amount to anything in terms of negotiating. But it's not even diplomatic. It's actually to try to intimidate you, to try to harass you, and to try to bully you. That's what he did. Yun lang yun.
Okay. I'll adjust aperture a little bit even further, no, to be even more fair. First of all,
Yes, please.
towards the end, nakita mo na for Trump, this is something personal also. The fact that for him kasi, Zelenskyy, Hunter Biden, his first impeachment, all of those experiences went together. And in fact, there are people, Ukrainian American advisors to Trump, who openly said that Trump hates Zelenskyy because, remember, you want to help me with the Hunter Biden thing, and then later on, nahulian. So, I think it would be naive to dismiss that there's some personal beef and all, and animus on the part of Trump. And we know Trump is someone who takes, he's someone with grudges, right? Now, this is not to demonize the guy, it's just how it operates with Trump. There's also another big issue that actually, if you're a Filipino watching this, you might actually be happy in a sense that, and I'll explain. I'm trying to be as fair as possible. Parang, ayan, finally, US will get out of Europe and all para mag-focus na siya sa atin. Right? Because the fact is, Marco Rubio, Secretary Rubio, who was in the room, mukhang kawawa na naman, he cannot talk. Kasi you could see Rubio saying, what the heck am I doing next to this J.D. Vance? I'm the senior senator. I'm the secretary. But anyway, I never thought I would be so parang sympathetic to Marco. I look at every meeting that Marco Rubio is there, and then Elon Musk is talking to J.D. Yung mukha, stress na stress. But anyway, going back to this. Rubio, for instance, made Philippines and Taiwan exempted from the US aid, yung mga suspensions. So,
Yes.
a part of you as a Filipino said, buti nga, at least, alis na kayo sa Europe, tama na yan, wala kayo, and Europe is so rich and wealthy, etc., right? Their GDP combined is 10 times Russia. So, why not, let's just take care of this, 3 years US. So, I get also that part, and in fact, there's even a bigger argument, I call it the reverse Nixon. What Trump could do is to cut a deal with Iran, nuclear deal, cut a deal with Russia, and then take those two out of the Chinese camp, and then isolate China. Just like what Nixon did back in the day when he took China out of the Soviet camp, or took advantage of the Sino-Soviet split, and then cornered. So this kind of trilateral game. It is not impossible that could eventually happen, that maybe a nuclear deal with Iran comes, maybe with Russia something comes. So a part of me, the Filipino Asian part of me said, maybe this could work. Maybe there's a method to this, right? I won't even call it madness. Let's just say drama, right? I understand that. Third, I completely understand we need peace. Absolutely, we need peace. Ukrainians are the first person to say they want peace. But here comes the problem, brother. The devil is in the details. For average Ukrainians, and even for definitely for their president, a bad deal is worse than status quo. Because their fear is, if there is a bad deal, Putin will pocket that ceasefire effectively, and then after 3 years, he'll invade even better, even stronger and more prepared. And then mas yari pa yung mga Ukrainians. And as we speak, 20% of the country is occupied, 21% by the Russian. So they rather keep the hell of now than have worse hell in 3 years from now. So that is where I have problems with the Trump approach, because if you look at what Pete Hegseth said in Munich Security Conference, if you look at, hindi lang dito J.D. Vance has been bashing, essentially saying, mag-thank you kay boss. He has been trolling Zelenskyy since the Munich Security Conference. Basically what they said, Ukraine will never be part of NATO, Ukraine will never have US troops, Ukraine will Para sa akin, bro, yun ang sasabihin mo sa negotiations, hindi sa public. Kasama yan sa cards mo. So, sa tingin ko, bro, ang problema dito is, if hindi ayusin yung rhetoric at saka yung tactics, baka mamaya we'll get a bad deal, di sayang. So, this is where I agree with my American friends. Sabi ng American, dami nagre-react sa mga post ko we gave 100 billion taxpayers money. Sabi, exactly, ayaw mo masayang. You invested so much in Ukraine, so many Ukrainian sacrifice. So, you want to get a good deal. Because my reading, brother, and I'll be going back again, front lines, but based on my conversation with people in Baltic areas, with leaders, is actually Russia bugbog sarado sila. They were scared to attack Finland when Finland decided to join NATO in the middle of the war. They didn't attack Estonia. I was in an Estonian base, NATO base, right next to the Russian border. They never bothered. Estonia is smaller than half of QC, right? So that means actually Russia is a cornered beast. Putin looks tough. So for me, this is a good chance to juice out a good deal out of Russia and then bring Russia into the fold and isolate China. That's my preferable. So my worry kasi, bro, here is that baka ang mangyari dito is hindi mangyari yung gusto natin, which is get out of Europe, blah, 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 and then come to China. Baka ang mangyari dito is US will just say, screw you all, right? We're just for America. We'll just cut deals right and left. If China offers me better deal than Taiwan, I'll go with China. If, this country offers... So that's the situation we don't want. That kind of a... As you know, ang idol niya is William McKinley, the very guy who colonized the Philippines, right? He has that kind of late 19th century, early mindset. So that's why I'm worried with what I'm seeing. And at the visceral level, as a man of the third world, Ukraine is for me a global south country. I felt like I could feel the pain of Zelenskyy being slapped around by nobodies there inside the room. I'm not talking JD, I'm talking people at the back. Like, who are you, di ba?
Yep.
Bastos yun eh.
Yep.
Sobrang, ako nabastosan ako as a smaller allied country of the US or something like that. So, that's where I come from. But I want to ask you this question, brother. So, how do you explain the Andrew Tate situation in Florida? I mean, that is crazy.
Well,
how is that going to help U.S. national interest, the Andrew Tate situation?
Well, with regards to Andrew Tate naman, sinabi ni Ron DeSantis, hindi naman siya welcome talaga dito sa Florida eh. And, ano ba sinabi? We don't welcome rapists and sex traffickers and all of that.
These things,
pero, hindi pa naman convicted si Andrew Tate, so we don't know. But there are victims that came out. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate at all. I think he's a scammer.
Yeah.
I think he takes advantage of men that, are desperate to try to improve themselves and are willing to pay him a lot of money to do it. But at the same time, ako gusto ko pa rin makita ko ano ba yung verdict after the case has been filed and has been tried to be able to give my judgment kung totoo bang sex trafficker siya at rapist siya. Hindi ko alam. Pero I don't like him at all. Okay? And he's going back to the US because he thinks, oh wow, Del Trump na yung panalo, that, more people like him. Oh wow, what, misogynist and mga ganyan klase.
Okay, so what do you think about immediately releasing the Epstein files and giving it to the MAGA vloggers without... bro, the whole thing looks like something else to me. It looks like what I was saying during the DDS period, whereby Mocha Uson will get a special meeting with Duterte, and then, it looks like an operation to me. Nation war operation to me.
Yeah, but bottom line, na, di ba narinig mo nga when they gave the folder, they opened it, and wala namang bagong information doon. Everything that was already there was already disclosed previously. And what the irony was this, I don't think they're gonna release the actual true Epstein files. Why? Because as everyone knows, one of Epstein's besties is Donald Trump. Kaya natatawa ako sa mga MAGA people saying na parang, sige, release natin Epstein files. Lumabas si Bill Clinton doon at saka si Bill Gates. Holy smokes, hold on guys. Before you start talking about the Democrats, your president was one of the closest friends of Epstein. They have multiple...
Of course, i-redact nila yan. Tatanggalin nila every reference to Trump. It will
diba, they have multiple phone blogs and logs, air flight logs. Maraming interaction. Not once, not twice, multiple. And narinig mo na nga si Trump, sinasabi niya na, pareho kami ni Epstein. We like beautiful women and we like them young. I mean, holy cow. I mean,
oh my God.
And
wait. Let's not forget, Andrew Tate is being accused of, operating in Eastern Europe. Right? And, connected. Okay, anyway, I don't want to say something might come off wrong, but I think people can connect the dots, what I'm saying here. Ako naman, the Romanian authorities would not have placed them under house arrest if I don't think a certain threshold of evidence was already not met. So while you're correct that there's no final court, the verdict, I don't think there would have been a house arrest kind of a situation unless the threshold of evidence was very high. And let's not forget, Romania is a NATO member, a very small country, even smaller than Ukraine. So I'm not ruling out also... muscling their way. Hey, Romania, baka you want to cough up our friends there. So, again, for me, it looks very gangster. The whole thing looks very gangster.
But Richard, I've always been a little bit suspicious of any government. And that's why sa akin, I don't know if he's guilty or not, and could it be the Romanian government just pressuring him because of who he is? I don't know. And yun lang sa akin, we've seen the law weaponized so many times by whoever's in power. And that's why I want to wait until I see all the evidence and study it and even know what the case is and then find out what the verdict will be before I pass judgment. Dahil nga, sobrang daming beses nakita nga natin na nawe-weaponize tong mga batas natin. Sa Pilipinas, it's very common. In other European countries and Eastern European countries, I'm sure that also could happen, di ba? Kaya yun lang. As much as I'm not a fan of Andrew Tate, I still believe that let us see all of the evidence first before we pass judgment on anyone. But as a scammer, yun, I pass judgment. Kasi yun, obvious naman, he's a scammer. That's the bottom line for me.
I almost called you Voltaire, like parang I do not agree with you, sir, but I'll die to defend your freedom to express your disagreement. But last point, let's talk about our favorite topic. Well, Bitcoin not doing well, man. Like, it's like what's happening? And speaking of your favorite favorito, El Presidente, Milei, yung Libertad meme coin niya.
Yeah,
Ang accusation
Libra,
is
the Libra meme
what
coin,
he did was like a pull rug situation, right?
Rug pull, yeah.
Rug pull, yeah. Like you have something and then people buy and then you suddenly. Okay, what do you have to say about that, brother? The whole Bitcoin situation
it was
and
so
your Milei
disappointing for
situation.
Milei to actually promote a cryptocurrency where he had no understanding of what a cryptocurrency is and what it does. So naloko siya nung isang scammer at siya naman nagpaloko. Yun ang problema. So ngayon, nagmukha siyang tanga and not only did he look stupid, it made everyone looks stupid now. Pero remember, this was after Trump putting up his meme coin as well and promoting it. And because of that, ano nangyari ngayon? Pinag-usapan na to in Congress sa US eh. Sinasabi nila that I think there was a law that they're trying to pass to not allow presidents and anyone in government to be promoting
conflict
mga
of
meme
interest.
coins and rug pulling it. Talagang and makukulong ka if you do that. May ganun na longay ng pinag-uusapan in Congress eh. And I agree with that. I honestly think that with Bitcoin right now, bumagsak yung presyo naman ng Bitcoin because of Trump and the tariffs that he's implementing, not just in Canada, not just in Mexico, but now all over the
world.
EU.
Yeah.
He is literally turning US into he's isolating the United States. And trust me, I don't think this is gonna fare well for the US by doing that. They think they're one of the biggest economies and powerful trade partners, pero I think they're overestimating how powerful they are because with the new shift in the way people look at global reserve currency that the US is and how the US has weaponized that currency by being able to confiscate it from Russia, people are now looking at another type of global reserve currency and that's Bitcoin. At pag mangyari yon, mawawala na yung kanilang lakas at yung kanilang leverage. And then that's when you talk about the New World Order. Who knows? We might end up with a New World Order where everyone's together and then China, Russia, US, and North Korea ay magkakasama na.
Or,
Diba? Yun ang
or something
nakakatakot.
even totally different, like in 10 different direction, like
Sure.
War of 5 Armies, parang yung parang Warcraft.
Yeah.
No, I mean, going back to this, bro. Kasi I was personally a bit optimistic about Bitcoin before the JP Morgan report came out. I'm really following this very closely. I mean, nagpapatawa ako, but actually I'm very serious on ito. So you had the Abu Dhabi Sovereign Wealth Fund, right? They bought $500 million, almost $470 million. So things are moving the right direction. I think baka what also happened is that there was an over expectation na lalo mag-boom itong Bitcoin because a lot of people that Trump has appointed in Treasury and different departments are very strong. And so feeling ko ang nangyari is medyo premature peak siya ng konti. Kaya siguro market correction din ito. So I completely agree with you. I think all experts would say that this whole tariff wars and disruption is not helping. But I would also add that I think there was a bit of premature overexcitement because hindi pa rin clear yung regulatory approach. But again, I cannot blame people. And this is where, bro, I feel more for Argentina because as you know, Argentina is still in the midst of an economic crisis. I've been to countries where people are so desperate because their money is becoming worthless by the day. So they either put it in dollar or go into Bitcoin. So unlike in the US, it's not about, so that I score it so I can buy my Tesla tomorrow. In Argentina, it's a matter of survival. Kaya nainis ako dun sa nangyari kay Milei because that really hurt many families who are already struggling with almost, getting dropped out of the middle class. I mean, Argentina used to be a very middle class society. A good friend of ours was in Argentina recently. In all Latin America, Buenos Aires is the only place you go na sobrang low yung crime. You can go around without fearing. Hanggang ngayon even if there's economic crisis, it's a very proud, syempre a lot of them are Italians, Europeans, but there's also a lot of desperation. Kaya I felt bad na why would Milei do something like that? That's why he could face impeachment. I mean, this is a serious discussion right now in Argentina because tens of thousands of families may have put all of their money in whatever little savings they had into that meme coin that he released. Unlike in the case of US, na I think it's a much wealthier country and all, and I think people have cushion. So, yun lang yung concern ko. Bro, wow, we talked about everything all around the world except one person, Harry Roque. I was very disappointed with General Torre. He couldn't give me the exact coordinates, but it looks like Dubai is like, because every time we do a whole world survey, where in the world is Harry Roque? Wala ka bang update dyan, bro? Wala ka bang info dyan? Ang chismis nga, babalik yan pag next Congress na para wala ng Quadcom. Kasi diba yung show cause order sa kanya yung Quadcom. But General Torres said, hindi, pag may meron kaming basis, arestuhin namin yan kahit iba na yung Congress. Ikaw, bro, wala? Hindi ka pumapatol sa Harry Roque, no?
Hindi, pero sa akin, yung pala yung tama ka doon, na-realize ko nga, na nga pala, bakit nga ba hindi pa ba na-arresto to si Harry Roque? Pero hindi lang yun, hindi na si Harry Roque, si Bantag. Yung pala, naalala ko na naman, bakit hindi pa na-arresto si Bantag? That's a bigger threat right now.
DMA yun
That man
DMA
is
graduate.
not the mastermind, the middleman.
Yeah.
And that guy can tag who really ordered the killing of Percy Lapid. Kaya hindi siya mahuli-huli dahil pag nahuli yan si Bantag, kakantayan. At kailangan niya magsalita dahil kung hindi siya magsalita, siya yung makukulong as the mastermind. At sigurado ko pag nahuli na yan, magsasalita yan. Kaya nagtataka ko ba't di pa siya nahuhuli. Apparently, alam na daw nila kung nasan siya eh. So if you ever
Sa
get
amin yata siya sa
to
Cordillera
General
eh.
Torre, please ask him. Bakit di pa niyo nahuhuli si Bantag?
Alam ko
Kung
sa
alam
amin
niyo
siya
kung
sa
nasan siya.
Alam ko sa Cordillera siya, bro. Baka sa tamang oras siya hulin. Baka kasi unahin pa siya. I mean, yeah, that's a crazy. You're absolutely right. Let's be honest. Lahat tayo in one way or another were inspired by Percy, no? The Percy rapid fire, di ba? I think, he it's so sad to see na ilang taon na, almost mag 2 years na, di ba, bro?
Yeah.
Man,
it's about there na, yeah.
So thank you for mentioning him again. I think we have to mention him over and over again kasi he has been a lightning rod. Way before lahat tayo naging mas matapang, especially online and all. I mean, I've been working mainstream media, pero yung mas matapang tayo online, he was there. He was doing that during pandemic. Naalala ko yung lola ko was watching him all the time. My lola went from a pro-digong na I love digong to like super anti-digong because of Percy. Lapid.
Yep.
Because yun, talaga na-convince siya. Ang dami mga, tapos yung digongyo, di ba? Siya yung nag-coin ng term na yan, di ba? So,
Yep.
thank you so much, brother, for mentioning that. And thank you so much, brother, about, this reminding us.
Sorry, Richard, parang naghanga tayo. Sorry.
Yeah. You were saying, no. And thank you for also reminding us about other fugitives na more sinister than my favorite ex-human rights lawyer, no?
Yeah. So that's why, Richard, I'm gonna say this. Kaya, I'm a little bit suspicious of Magalong and what he really stands for, to be honest with you. And I was planning to do a video about him because nga, pag pinakinggan mo yung kanyang mga pronouncements, nakikita ko talaga that meron siyang inclination to protect. I think he was also instrumental in protecting Bandag at one point. So he is actually complicit to the crimes of Duterte. And that really bothers me that somebody is complicit to that and he does not want to call it out. Nung nag-interview ko nga with him sinabi mo nga, instead of addressing the issue with formally, what does he do? Talks about something else. Yun na nga, like when you can't call out something
you're right.
like that.
I forgot to ask that about Bantag. Kasi Bantag is he's from Cordilleras, right? So we know he was there a few years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, but they see how they made it a political issue about persecuting mga tribe siya.
Igorot. There were Igorot folks actually in the city hall.
It has nothing to do with the Igorot tribe. It has everything to do with the fact that this man has actually ordered the murder of Percy Lapid and the fact na merong malaking tao na sa likod niya. Kaya hindi siya mahuli-huli dahil alam natin lahat, pag nahuli itong si Bantag, he may actually reveal kung sino ba talaga ang nag-utos nito to save his own skin. Because I promise you, pag nahuli yan and you give him a plea bargain, a plea deal, and say to him, name the mastermind, and you will lessen your sentence. He will take that deal because nobody wants to go to jail for life. Yun. Kaya hindi siya mahuhuli. And that's the
Right.
challenge I pose to General Torre. That kung mahuli mo yan, believe na talaga ako sa'yo. Kung mahuli siya, hindi ko alam. I think it's more likely that, Bantag might be suddenly dead.
Yeah, yun nga yung point ko eh. I mean, do we even know if he's still alive, to be honest? I mean,
Yeah,
I think he's still alive, but you never know, right? I mean,
Yeah, because remember, yung mga middlemen between Bantag and all the killers, ano nangyari? Nakapatay lahat sila. Who's to say hindi ito mangyayari sa kanya? The people that are, these people that we know are very capable of killing and murder. They won't even think twice about it.
but for all we know, mas nagtatago siya dun sa isang camp kaysa dun sa isang
Yes.
camp, right? Right? I mean, this is almost like watching Narcos, right? I mean, and it makes perfect sense. This is crazy.
Yep.
Thank you so much, brother, for another parang medyo naging Joe Rogan na tayo, parang discuss all around the world and all of that. Super ganda. I always appreciate it. Actually, bro, knock on the wood. I think people really like our combination kasi it's so parang seamless, flawless, walang pakialaman, di ba? Like, obviously, you know more on Bitcoin than me. There are certain issues probably I'm more familiar, but it doesn't come off. Like, we just talk as if we're just two, bros just exchanging thoughts. So it comes very naturally. And I think we need more of that in our country. Kasi sa totoo lang, I think sa Pilipinas, parating gusto ng tao, isa lang bida, isa lang yung ganon, tapos competitive masyado. Like, chill lang, bro. Like, we're just here chilling. So, thank you so much, brother, for being a fantastic collaborator in that sense. And looking forward to in-person again. Catch up ulit tayo with Sir Ronald and the RRMC. That went very, very well. I'll forward you some of the other links we have para tuloy-tuloy lang yan. Can I just request you, brother, if you can download this afterwards and send me the downloaded version because I missed some part na very interesting discussion about General Torre and General Bato. But I'll try to get up whatever I have here kasi ang ganda ng discussion. Bati pala yung 47 minutes niya ginawa mong whopping analysis, no? But I appreciate also your point of view on Trump, and I felt it was a very balanced discussion overall, both of us, no? So you can see, even if I'm critical, I always look at the big picture. In the end, hopefully, this moves towards a direction that favors us, our national interest, as much as I pray for our friends in Ukraine. Hopefully, they have an enduring, endurable peace. Just peace, hindi lang just any peace. Salamat, brother, and have a good weekend, and see you soon. God willing.
All right, buddy.
Salamat,
Ingat.
brother.
Recording stop.
Para sa bayan, thank you very much, guys. Ito, nag-back-to-back na tayo. Ibang klase pa. Inaano pa niya yung kanina kong guest na. But actually, well, I already asked Mayor Magaling about the issue of the Dutertation of that. Now, pero nga, nakalimutan ko tanungin kay General Torre kay Bantag issue. Maybe next time. At least, thanks to Krista na naalala ko itong mga issue na to. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for continued support for us. Maraming salamat. So as you know, this will be our final meta of this year in our lives. So hopefully by Monday, we're gonna move into a new year. Tatanda tayo ng konti. So thank you so much for making this patapos na mid-30s year natin very productive, very interesting, and very engaging, and I mean it. I'm not being like Donald Trump sarcastic. The greatest, hindi naman ganun. No, I mean it. And literally we had millions and millions of views and all. So thank you for all of the support. Obviously, we constantly try to improve, to push the envelope, and we constantly try to improve. I know, namin nagagalit sa akin dati, Richard, hindi nakikinig ng salita. I take your constructive criticism, pero pag hater ka, no, I'm just gonna ignore you. But we're getting all those criticism, but I hope people also accept na minsan, may day job tayo, dito tayo, dyan tayo. So, pasensya na kung may imperfections tayo or madaldal tayo minsan. By the way, etong version na to, this is not a final version. We're gonna have a final version that we'll release separately. So, wag kayong mag-alala na nakikita lang yung mukha ko. There'll be more to this. Alright? So on that note, thank you very much. Maraming salamat. Thank you for your greetings on our birthday, and thank you sa lahat ng mga nagpadala ng support, inspiration, stars, stickers, baka naman, diba? and also membership. So sana madali lang member. You just go to our page, Richard Darren Vlogs on YouTube, and then there's a place where you can choose membership. Just as the price of a pickup coffee, forget about Starbucks. You can be a member, part of our little community. Para naman ma-inspire naman tayo na may sense of community at may kilusan tayo. Because at the end of the day, I'm not just here trying to just be pa-cute and all of that. Although minsan, unfortunately, yes, alam ko may ang dating na medyo pa-cute and all. But we're serious, you know. There's so many issues we want to discuss. There's so many things we want to look at. So talagang mahalaga para sa atin ating mga minamahal na kababayan na we continue these conversations at the highest possible levels. And thank you for your constant comments. May mga nagtatampo, baka Richard, sinasagot mo lang yung trolls. Actually, yung trolls, kino-call out ko lang. Pero actually, nababasa ko yung mga comments ng iba sa inyo na very constructive and engaging. So, as I talk and as I speak, I'm already taking in consideration. Parang stock market yan. Like, information is coming, processing that. Anyways, on that note, thank you very much, guys, for your warm greetings, for your love and support, stickers, stars, baka naman, and all of these things. And don't worry, every support that you give goes directly into our production, improving our production, and keeping the momentum going. Kasi at the end of the day, we want to give you the best quality of podcast we can provide under our quote-unquote third world condition. Pero medyo first world naman tayo ng content, di ba? Medyo level up din tayo in terms of production. But in terms of content, as you can see, we can discuss Argentina, we can discuss North Korea, we can discuss all of these countries because we pay attention to politics in these countries. And in my case, as much about I try to visit these countries, give talks there, talk to the experts, etc., so that we can give you really a world-class kind of podcast discussion na hindi intimidating, na hindi lecture. Now, having said that, dun sa mga members natin, whether Beshi, Super Beshi, whatever, down the road, ang hope natin dito is we will provide lecture type also discussion. I have a couple of lectures that I uploaded. Yun ang gagawin natin na lang exclusive sa mga members ng YouTube natin para naman ma-justify yung binabayarin na pang pick-up coffee per month pick-up coffee na isa lang, di ba? So we'll try to release na lang the special lectures. So hindi naman Jordan Peterson Academy, but these are serious discussions. Could be Orientalism, could be Freudian, Jungian psychoanalytics, could be any of these serious issues. So we'll try to release that exclusively for our members. So please lang, don't be shy and ask others to be part of our little community. I hope at least out of hundreds of thousands of followers we have on different platforms, kahit 1,000 lang members, masaya na tayo. Para naman feeling natin na alam mo na, may sense of community tayo. On that note, thank you very much. God bless and talk to you soon.